the Jesuit Order who runs this whole fucking world. The Jesuit Order equals 201, like their founder's name equals 201, like Jorge Mario Bergoglio equals 201, who's Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope and the first to live in Suite 201, who just had the whole World Cup scripted around him. Again, where was Messi staying? Separate from the team in room 201. Tell you all about 201 and Tom Brady's whole scripted career and why 2 World Trade Centers became 0 before it became 1, and why the Buffalo Top shooting happened on Hillary Clinton's 201st day of her age because she's a Jesuit who cut the ribbon when they opened the store. And why the O.J. Simpson crime scene was found on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year of the old Buffalo Bill, where, again, they opened the tops on his birthday. And then they said 10 dead, 3 injured before the 103rd NFL season, where the Bills went on to become 10-3. The other big coincidence, the coronavirus pandemic simulation, October 18th, 2019, called Event 201. Remember all the 201 rituals we've been documenting with the pandemic? But the Queen caught the cooties, right? Supposedly from King Charles. We were talking about all this. In fact, I was explaining why she was going to die at 96 and how it would probably be connected to COVID before it even happened, because corona means crown and it's the crown virus. From the day that she caught cooties to the day that she died was 201 days later. And remember, the big celebrity over there that she knighted on July 17th, he died from the cooties 201 days later. 201 is the number of the Jesuits, and it's why the Jesuit Order's logo is above the door at 10 Downing Street in the UK, where the Prime Minister resides. It's a reminder that the cooties jab was first approved in the UK. Hollywood put out a movie about a doctor who works in a hospital who has to be with a panel of people and make the decision on who gets a heart transplant, who gets a liver transplant, who gets whatever transplant they need, because there's only so many organs available. So they call themselves the God Committee because they choose who lives and who dies. And he doesn't like having to do this. So in his spare time, he's working on creating genetically modified pig organs that will go into human beings. This movie comes out on June 20th, 2021. And then lo and behold, on January 7th, 2022, international headline, 201 days later, that the first genetically modified pig heart is transplanted into a human being. You don't know who these numbers are representative of? You better pull your head out of your ass, because I've been educating about it for a long time. Notice, what are all these guys on TV who are in on this telling you to do? They're all asking you to pray. Here, I want to make a point. Again, this pisses people off all the time, but I've been wondering about this, and this is what showed me there was definitely something to Gematria when I first began. I was teaching about this in Buffalo because hold on. I just want the most simple cipher here. I want you guys to see this. Okay, remember, the original name of Jesus is not Jesus. It's Yeshua, but they changed it to Jesus. And I just want you to realize, Jesus and Lucifer both have the same value, right? 74. Like Jewish is 74. Again, the top shooting happened on the 74th birthday of Israel, the Jewish nation. But notice, occult is 74, Masonic is 74. The NFL is highly Masonic. A lot of people say when you get to the top degree of Masonry, and Masonry has its own version of the Bible, but they say at the top you find out that they're really worshiping Lucifer. Lucifer is the light bringer. Light's associated with knowledge. But no, it's like the story of Jesus is the gospel. Gospel's 74.
Also,
parables, 74. Cross.
Sorry.
I'm just making the point about how important this number is. Again, holiday, this nation's birthday founded by Masons is on 7-4. If you use numerology, Independence Day is 74. Jesus Christ is 74. George Washington 74. This number's huge. Again, all the killing rituals was 74. 3 of this nation's first 5 presidents all died on July 4th. What are the odds of that? Adams and Jefferson died the same day on 1826 on July 4th. And then 1,826 days later, Monroe dies on 7-4. So again, I always piss people off with this, but the majority of, and understand, I was raised Lutheran. Okay, I was raised Lutheran. If you don't know what Lutheran is, that's a sect of Christianity named after Martin Luther, who led the Protestant Reformation against the Catholic Church. But again, I started to realize growing up that most of the people in my church were frauds, and they would like hide behind their religion, and they'd do something bad, and they'd be like, I'm not bad, I believe in Jesus. And you'd be like, but I know you're a human piece of shit. You can claim you believe in Jesus all you want, but you're a scummy, shitty person. And look at all the frauds in this world that put their hand on the Bible and say they're all about Jesus, like every lying president. Like how so often these TV commentators, they'll even start bringing it up. I mean, I really do think that this name Jesus is some kind of manipulation, like it's spells and spellings. And that's why the majority of Christians, it's not to say that all Christians are bad. There are good Christians, but 90% of Christianity in my lifetime have proven to be frauds, the people that are part of this religion. And again, they're asking for everyone to pray. By the way, it's all energy, right? Energy is another 74 word. It's just for the record, so is nuclear, so is weapon. Kind of like how the World Trade Centers came down on the 74th meridian west, and then they called the site Ground Zero, which before 9/11 was terminology for where a nuclear bomb explodes below or above ground. Anyway, this 74 number is, remember I told you why Muhammad Ali would die at 74. That's another 74 spiritual figure.
Wow.
Well, anyway, there's something that they did to this name Jesus, and there's a reason so many Christians are bankrupt human beings, and there's a reason that they're asking everyone to pray. And again, it's a big energy harvest. So be mindful of this name Jesus. Again, and like I say to people, Christianity tells you to put all your power outside of you. Again, this whole thing with Jesus and 33 is about humanity. Humans have 33 bones in the vertebrae. It's like your connection to Creator is inside. There's no middleman between you and the Creator. For all the Christians out there that I think I'm a bad guy because I don't have the same spiritual belief as them, Creator shows me signs all the time, and it hasn't mattered if I was in the time of being a Lutheran or since the time where I said, you know what, I'm not sure this religion thing's right. So I want people to be aware of this. And again, I went to Buffalo and talked about why the killing ritual came on Israel's 74th birthday, and they blamed it on a white supremacist, which also equals 74 when you use numerology. And again, if you read the Old Testament, the oldest Hebrew in the Old Testament is black. So who are these people that we're calling Jewish in Israel? Because they're not like the Hebrews in the Bible. So think about that also with the white supremacy thing in a black neighborhood in Buffalo on Israel's 74th birthday. And who inverted all this stuff? Right. They had to clear one person to make room for another. So
this stuff is scary, man. Like 74, like people don't realize what's really going on here, man. I don't think people really know these games are just a joke. They're just to harvest your energy.
The point I was trying to make earlier that I could have made in a nicer way is this TV programming is literally controlling people's minds, and people are only getting sad about the things that they're told to get sad about. Be sad about what happened to Damar Hamlin. Be sad that Mike Vick is killing dogs. But then get behind and watch the blockbuster presentation of what did we call it when we invaded the Middle East after the 9/11 lies? They were doing it like it was a pay-per-view boxing match. All the news stations had like big bold print as we were just watching bombs and missiles just strike this nation that had nothing to do with anything other than us going over there and restoring all the again, people don't understand what we did after 9/11. We went and killed all the Taliban. And why did we kill the Taliban? So we could bring back the poppy production, so we could flood the world in fentanyl and opium and heroin. Exactly what's happened. Again, if you guys aren't aware, before 9/11, opioid levels were at like record lows because the Taliban had taken over Afghanistan. And again, they saw how that plant was killing the world. We killed them. And again, you guys, in 1968, fentanyl was approved by the FDA. The same year 911 was made the code, World Trade Center construction, coronavirus was coined. That's why my last book's called 9/11 Coronavirus. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's like they want everyone participating in all their demonic shit. And that's why these same people that all they do that let the TV think, they just go along with every demonic agenda. They think that everything is right is evil. Again, they think I've been speaking out about nothing but facts since 9/11 happened, and everyone thinks I'm evil for calling out the evil. These people are part of the evil hive mind. All they care about is what they're told to care about. They don't care about anything else, and they don't have any of their own independent thoughts. They have no critical thinking.
Sell your soul, and you don't do what their agenda does. They kill you. It's logic. They have to do all these types of rituals, all these types of murdering, all these types of killings.
Well, and then just to start thinking about it even more, your point is great, but also like they've created this thing, right? They've created this story that everyone's mind's connected to. So now if everybody's praying. See, like people, I'm sure Love Hill's prayers are directed to Jesus. I'm sure Love Hill in America's prayers are like, "Dear Jesus, please help Damar Hamlin recover and be healthy and have a great Bills season." And they might have meant well with that. But again, if we've been trained to participate in something like, again, let's go back to the 16th century when the Jesuits came into being, the Society of Jesus, who's this military killing order that serves the Roman Catholic Church that just wants to control and dominate everybody. If these people understand all this knowledge that goes back to Babylon, sorcery, spellcasting, and they create a language with real spells, with words that have real power and influence, and they sync it up with the calendar, because clearly this is what they've done. They've created the English language as we know it, synced it up with the calendar. They have everyone believing the word with lie right in the middle, all of their bullshit from their history to their spiritualities. If they have everybody going along with this, and all it was ever meant to do is keep people enslaved to this corrupt, dishonest system that runs on lies every day, which is why they teach you to be a believer again, the word with lie right in the middle and not a critical thinker, what are people really doing, even if they mean well? If you're now part of something that was meant to control you and just keep evil in place, and you're now praying to a false name that was put with this spell behind it, again, is this why we see what we see in the world? I mean, in the time of the Jesuits and the Catholic Church and Christianity and Jesus, the world's become a worse and worse and more evil place. So I would challenge all Christians to really think about that. You really think these scumbags on TV like Booger McFarland care about anything righteous? I mean, please.
Hey, Zach, what's up? Only a few quick points. First off, the last guy that called in, I wasn't going to mention this before, but he was basically saying that, you know, all these inventions that they can't be made by humans. And I mean, that's just something that I've never really agreed with, because I've been an engineer for basically all my life. So, and I've looked at all these advanced patents and, you know, all these types of laser guns and beam weapons and whatever, and I've done my fair share of designing my own stuff that's based on that, that's even more advanced. So I just don't really subscribe to the whole thing that humans can't do it. Just because you can't do it or you can't understand it doesn't mean other people that are smarter can't. It's mostly people like me that are designing this stuff. It's just people more evil than me because, you know, they're designing it for these people to use.
Charlotte, the Queen City, Charlotte's Web, the Spider,
Right.
The nickname for Donovan Mitchell's Spider. He's having the big game for the Cavs, which goes with King Charles. It is all connected, man. News, sports, ritual, day after day.
Right.
We were actually doing a live stream on all the deaths connected to 38, and then this headline broke in the middle of the live stream, and we're like, well, if you need any more proof about death in 38, again, for people who are new here, 38 is the number of death, and it's why this nation's military department, the Pentagon, and Pentagon equals 38 in Gematria, is on the 38th parallel. But again, the movie poster for Murder by Numbers, which came out on Ignatius of Loyola Day, and all this stuff goes to the Jesuits. Murder by numbers, the E's changed to the 3, the B to the 8, 3883. Murder equals 38 and 83. The song Murder by Numbers, where killings as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3 came out in 83. The star of Murder by Numbers is Sandra Bullock, whose name's 83. The film came out 38 weeks after her 37th birthday. When you turn 37, you begin your 38th year of your life. In addition to murder equaling 38, so does killing, death, RIP, Gematria. Again, there's the Slipknot song, Gematria, the killing name. One member of that band died at age 38. The other member to die died on a 38 date numerology. But Gematria, English, all of this comes from Kabbalah, which is another 38 word like Jew. And again, you know, so New Year's equals 38. You got 1 million deaths in the headlines every year on New Year's with 38 coded all over it, including Gangsta Boo and the drummer from both bands, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Modest Mouse, and then Jeremy Renner, who's hurt in the snowplow accident. It's a 38 fest year after year on New Year's, which equals 38, and Christmas also equals 38. This year on Christmas, we got the story of the killings in Colorado, which is the 38th state, plus Colorado equals 38. A reminder that Russell Wilson, the NFL quarterback, when he beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl, that was the Seahawks' 38th season. But people don't realize this. Russell Wilson was drafted into Major League Baseball while he was still in college, playing at Wisconsin, and he was drafted by Colorado. And then the very next day, his dad died. Colorado, the 38th seed. Then he beats Colorado in the Seahawks' 38th season. Then he gets traded to the Seahawks on March 8th, 3-8. And then he ends up 3-8 with the Broncos, falling to 3-8 versus the Panthers, the other 38 team who lost in Super Bowl 38 and who also lost to the Broncos on the 38th day of the year in Super Bowl 50. So anyway, this long pattern of 38 leads up to yesterday's breaking news. The lineman for the Jaguars dead at 38. And what day did he actually die? He actually died on LeBron James's 38th birthday, but they saved the news for yesterday, the day that Purdue got wasted in the bowl game. And that's what college he went to. He went to Purdue. And also in that Purdue game, if you missed it, they carried a player off the field named Pope, and there were 70 points scored in the game, and Francis and Vatican equals 70, so it makes me wonder about that too. But, yeah, LSU beat Purdue 63-7. He went to Purdue and ends up dead the day of the game. And he had just been active on his own YouTube page. So,
Yeah, did you also see that tweet about him, like, wanting to force the vaccine mandates? And then
right here, 23 hours ago. He says, okay, so let's get these vaccine mandates and vaccine passports up and running ASAP. We see in children die. Okay, so he was advocating for this. I see.
Yeah. So I guess it kind of keeps people like tied in, like not thinking about that it's a ritual, but like just go straight to think that, you know, he just died from the vaccines, but when it could possibly be both, you know. Well, for sure, ritual part.
Yeah, and again, it's funny that he wore the number 77 and died at the start of 23. And the two most standard ciphers in Gematria, Jaguars equals 77 and 23. So, yeah, and then he was, again, pandemic's another word that has a 38 Gematria. And again, for a reminder, you guys, fentanyl is another 38 word. And again, in 1968, that infamous year, coronavirus was coined and fentanyl was approved. And that's the thing that's leading the nation in cause of death. And yeah, I didn't catch that part about that he was advocating for the jab. So that's new information to me.
Yeah, that's about it. So when is Yale turning 322? I know it's this year, but what date?
That's a good question on the exact date. Yale was established in 1701. My guess is it's probably in the summertime because it's probably established right before the school year began. So, but yeah, we can look that up and find out for sure. But I know 1701 is the year Yale was created, where Skull and Bones 322's at.
Just going off the Yale thing, I think Yale was established in October. I can't remember the exact day, but sometime in October. So that'll be the 322nd anniversary. But other than that, I was looking over other news related to, you know, the shots. Did you go over the John Stockton story? I don't know. I can't remember.
You mean what happened with John Stockton at the beginning of last year on January 23rd? Sorry, talking about?
No, I think it was this year where he started to mention like players that died from the vaccine shot. Like he mentioned that players were starting to die and they had the shot, and he said that was what caused it. And then people, you know, they started to give him backlash about it. And then he came on another interview and like he doubled down on it. And then he said, since the second interview was after, he doubled down and he said, oh, the number is even more now. I think he said it's like 750, and he wouldn't be surprised if it's 1,000 players who have died from the shot.
Okay, at the beginning of the year, it was Georgetown's 233rd birthday. So Georgetown's the nation's first Jesuit university. John Stockton went to Gonzaga, which is the Jesuit university in Washington State. But it was Georgetown's 233rd birthday that Gonzaga suspended John Stockton, who's alumni. And notice how Gonzaga University equals 233. And then the media used the image of Stockton sitting between the chairs 5 and 6. And again, if you've been following my work for COVID, that's the coronavirus COVID vaccine number. Again, in case you're new here, coronavirus is 56. COVID vaccine is 56. Anthony Fauci's 56. Society of Jesus, that's the formal power of the Jesuits, 56. Anthony Fauci's a Jesuit. Donald Trump's a Jesuit. Donald Trump waited to declare the emergency for the nation on Friday, March 13, 2020, a date with 56 numerology, 56 years after his Jesuit education began in 64. Cuomo, who's a Jesuit, the 56th governor of New York, who was like the face of the pandemic for the first 2 years. Gavin Newsom, who's a Jesuit, whose name also equals 56 when you run it in reverse, said 56% of California will get coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days when he locked down the state, and 1 million more 56 rituals. But I just thought, how funny that they got to put a picture of John Stockton between chairs 5 and 6 as they tell this story. And it's just like when Aaron Rodgers spoke out, they had Aaron Rodgers become the hero on the day leaving 56 days left in the year, and the year is Super Bowl 56. Which was the same day Odell Beckham Jr. got traded from Cleveland to the Rams before he scored the first touchdown in Super Bowl 56. And again, people don't know that Rams are originally from Cleveland. But anyway, so I didn't get into the nitty gritty of the John Stockton story, and good for him for speaking out, but they definitely suspended him and ritualized him by the numbers. And then another part of me wonders is like, is he even speaking out on his own free will? Or is this like some kind of omission to use one of their controlled athletes like Aaron Rodgers? Because I know Aaron Rodgers is a total puppet. His whole getting to be the good guy, he got that script just like how he's an actor for State Farm. And by the way, you guys, if you don't know, State Farm equals 103 like Rodgers. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers, who everyone's like on his nuts, like, yeah, he's speaking out. All that guy does is what he's told to do. Is it the same thing with John Stockton? My guess is it probably is. And the reason they're having these guys tell some truth is just so that, again, it's put out there what the truth is, because that seems like kind of the ethics of the people who rule over us, to leak a little bit of truth and expect people to be like, well, that's just Aaron Rodgers who said that. That's just John Stockton who said that. I'm going to stick with the Dr. Anthony Fauci. So.
Yeah, man. This is what they do. Like, they leave a little bit of breadcrumbs so that, like, once you're in trouble, once you start finding out, you're like, wow, how could this happen? They're gonna come back and say, well, we told you.
Indeed.
You have 6 billion idol worshippers who makes God angry every second of their life. Indian, Chinese, Japanese, Tibet, Nepal, Thailand, so many. India alone is 500 million. China is 2 billion. So many, 2 billion Christians, which are idol worshippers. Between Chinese, Hindus, Buddhists, and Christian, at least 6.5 billion people are idol worshippers that, according to the Torah, do not have the right to live. Idol worshipper goy, it's death penalty. Not only Jews, even a goy who bow down to an idol, who believe in JC, deserve death penalty.
A woman from New South Wales has died after taking the AstraZeneca vaccine.
An 18-year-old health worker has developed blood clots after getting her COVID vaccine.
An elderly woman has died in what's believed to be South Australia's first case of fatal blood clotting caused by the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine.
A Queensland man is in intensive care tonight suffering a blood clot after receiving his AstraZeneca vaccine. He's one of 5 similar cases around the country.
6 new cases of blood clots have been officially linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine.
3 more cases of blood clots have been linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine, including 1 case in an 80-year-old man.
53-year-old South Australian man is tonight gravely ill in intensive care after suffering a blood clot linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine.
In breaking news, a Central Coast woman has died after receiving a COVID vaccine.
The head of the Therapeutic Goods Administration is calling for calm following the deaths of 2 people in our state who received the COVID vaccine.
Concerns around the safety of the AstraZeneca vaccine have been realised here in Australia, with medical experts confirming the death of a Central Coast woman is likely linked to the jab. A major medical investigation is underway tonight over whether a local man suffered blood clots as a result of getting the Pfizer vaccine.
Australians are being urged not to jump to conclusions over the death of a woman from blood clots after receiving the COVID vaccine. Tonight, 7 News can reveal another similar death is also being investigated.
Authorities in Norway are investigating the deaths of at least 33 elderly Norwegians who received Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine.
The nation's medical regulator has revealed 7 new cases of blood clots linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine.
A Launceston family is pleading for help after their teenage daughter fell ill after receiving the Pfizer vaccine. Faith Ranson has been in and out of hospital and suffers almost daily tics after experiencing what a leading doctor admits was an adverse reaction to the vaccine.
There's safety associated. Does the vaccine make you worse? And there are diseases in which you vaccinate someone. They get infected with what you're trying to protect them with, and you actually enhance the infection.
wearing protection on the streets. Why are you wearing this mask, sir?
I don't know, just feel safer.
Okay, thank you. Katie, the folks at the Atlanta Disease Control Center told me that these masks wouldn't stop a flu germ with a hangover.
I don't know how many different ways I can say this. This so-called super flu does not exist.
Then what is it? Why is everybody talking about it?
I don't know why everybody's talking about it. I don't know where the rumors are coming from. It must be a figment of the press's imagination. I don't know why I'm up here answering these questions. I don't have the answers, because there's no such thing.
The Ribbono Shel Olam has given us a gift, COVID-19 vaccines.
The vaccines are allowing us to reopen and to enjoy Simcha safely again.
With all the data that has emerged, we clearly see just how safe and effective the vaccines are across populations,
including the elderly, those with underlying health conditions, and pregnant and nursing women.
Due to so many people being vaccinated, the number of hospitalizations and deaths decreased greatly since the vaccines were released.
But the numbers of COVID-19 cases are spiking again.
In June, 100% of people who Rahman al-Islam died from COVID-19 in Maryland were unvaccinated.
100%.
Unvaccinated people died.
The Delta variant is 225% more transmissible than the original virus.
Now, responsible over 80% of current cases.
Baruch Hashem, vaccines are effective against the variants, keeping those people, vaccinated people, out of hospitals and from losing their lives.
Let's all feel comfortable davening in shul.
Take achrayus for your neighbor's health.
Protect yourself and them by getting vaccinated.
There is unfortunately a lot of misinformation circulating.
It's important to know the truth.
After over a year of research, clinical trials, and the actual vaccines in use,
we see no evidence of any kind of negative outcome for fertility and no evidence of increased risk to women of childbearing years.
COVID-19 does not discriminate by age or health status.
There is no predicting how severe a case someone will experience.
Unvaccinated people who were hospitalized or died didn't think it would happen to them.
We are a cohesive community.
The best way to ensure our health and safety is with one voice.
One voice.
One voice.
Cases are spiking in every state, in our relative cities. Let's not add Baltimore, Khalila, to that list.
The best preparation to prepare ourselves for Rosh Hashanah is to look about our neighbors, our friends, our misparolim and the shuls.
Travel and celebrate the Yom HaNoraim responsibly. Get vaccinated now.
The Ribbono Shel Olam has given us a gift, safe and effective vaccines.
It's easy and quick.
The Bikur Cholim Clinic and Baltimore City Health Department clinics are convenient and accessible.
Go take the vaccine.
Get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated now.
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 Be smart. Be responsible. Get vaccinated.
Thank you for heeding this call.
May we all have a sweet, happy, and healthy New Year, B'ezras Hashem.